All right, as everyone knows, you get 30 seconds of uninterrupted epidemic sound, instrumental or royalty-free characteristic music background. And happy Mother's Day to everybody. This is a special day for the moms out there. I have an array of outstanding flowers that I've sent everybody that I know. Almost both of you. We have a cast of 3 that are operating this broadcast, this Simulcast, over the 3 big social networks: YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Twitter Live, W Live. Anyway, there's a beauty right there, huh? Whew. Look at that. It's amazing. The flowers. Ooh, that's a favorite. An all-time favorite. The rose. The infinite leaf. Look at this. We keep expanding into the everlasting. Beautiful flower. Hilton, thank you very much for delivering these marvelous creatures. Look at that. Whoops, sorry. The rose and the orchid. Yes. You can expand on that for a full frame look. Whew. And we can go to the orchid. And those blue doodads over to the left. which I don't know what they are. Yeah. So, special thanks to the mothers out there. You know, all of us have mothers. Yes, we do. No matter how unique you are. There's my Marilyn there, being sworn in as a I believe as a Rotary director. Right hand up, swearing in ceremony, I think, by this district regional super duper guy. Yeah. They had Hawaiian. It was like a Hawaiian thing because that year, the swearing in of the new president was going to happen in Hawaii. And because of pandemic, it got canceled. And we had our hotel and everything all picked out and didn't go. I was looking forward to that trip. Well, what are you going to do? Sunday, Mother's Day, May 12th, downtown Boca Raton, and everywhere else in Radioland. I enjoyed capturing these pictures early this morning. Yes. Something, I mean, that's my daughter's favorite flower. I don't know, this is a decades-old favorite. Wow. Look at these little guys right over on the side. You almost miss out on them. I think I'm going to zero in on them after this broadcast. And this orchid was so spectacular. My cat, I had a cat that threw up this morning, major, and I think that was because she ate some of the flowers. I had them delivered to the house on Friday afternoon late so that Marilyn could enjoy the flowers all weekend long instead of just Sunday, and then she goes to work on Monday, and then they get a little droopy. But now look at this. Look at this guy. Really? A red, white, and blue zebra? Eesh, that's got to do something to your brainiotomy. Whew. Well, here's, we need to watch out, the youngsters in our country, because this is trouble when the campuses inside our country get proliferated with non-students. Of the students that were arrested during all these protests, the 30 or 40 of our premier institutions around the country, 2/3 of them were 35 to 45 years old, non-students, instigators, and these young ones are, sucking up to the old ones, and camping out and creating a roast. And if you interview some of the young ones, they don't even know what they're, protesting about. It's disgusting. And the TV, the TV picks it up like it's, this is, well, everybody needs to pay attention to what's going on here. Because, and if you're not a student of history, which of course I'm not, I'm a scientist, so to speak, scientist turned banker, but history was not one of my strong suits. Jeez. We have low bandwidth here. Okay, well, YouTube Live is still with us. we still are broadcasting to somebody. Facebook Live and W Live took a hike. I guess there's only so much bandwidth that can happen on a Mother's Day at 10 a.m. But YouTube Live is hanging in there with us. Anyway, speaking of students of history, which of course I'm not, turn back your time machine to the mid-1930s, and start paying attention to what was going on with the students of Europe, Germany, and France, and the whole European continent. See what was going on in 1935, 1936, 1937. Looks just like this. And the European population got lulled to sleep. And then all of a sudden, Hitler showed up and became a powerful force that hardly could be reckoned with. As weapons over time were being confiscated, and of course the only ones with weapons were the German military, so it was easy for them to conquer the population because they're the only ones with weapons. Yeah, I know. The bad guys still had weapons. So did the German armies. All right, well, there we go to the red, white, and blue zebra. Neuroscience says that your brain dismisses outgroup members within a fraction of a second. I don't know. Maybe there's something with my neuros that don't follow the rule. To me, a red, white, and blue zebra is sort of... How do you miss that? Is that possible? Do you think someone stayed awake all night painting red, white, and blue stripes onto the zebra's black stripes every once in a while? I don't know. That's weird. Or maybe that was just done electronically. Could be. All right, where can millennials afford to buy a home? Well, I don't think it's Eastern Boca Raton. No. I think you have to go way out west somewhere. But there are places. Just not in the, they're high net worth neighborhoods. Or, people might be trying to sell a house, but a millennial can't get in them because they can't afford the 7% mortgage rates. That's a big number when you're, where a couple of years ago it was 2. Now it's 7. Well, 2 is 1/3 of 7. Wait a minute. Not quite. 2 is 1/3 of 6. It's even less than 1/3 of 7. Oh, my lordy. I know. I was on the math team. I played left tangent. All right. Trump trial. We're not talking politics here. We're talking law enforcement. And just from my liberal friends and my conservative friends, I'm staying neutral. Trump made history today, or the Trump rally made history today in Wildwood, New Jersey, and that for some reason or other he attracted the largest crowd in Wildwood history of around 100,000 participants in this political rally. Trump is an interesting character. I've not been, in my lifetime, my friends could probably attest, although I don't wear religion or politics on my shirt sleeve because, you never know who likes what, and I've always been personally, I've generally been in limited circles, but I do attract people that are interested in talking about things, and I've been involved in some money-raising ventures for our banking activities over in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, or 2000s and 2005s, right in that area. So I've not been a real Trump, I haven't been a Trumper. No way. He was kind of an obnoxious character, that would float around Manhattan. I grew up in I was born in New York City and Jamaica, Queens, Mary. I was born in Mary Immaculate Hospital, for those of you that are familiar with the Manhattan area. And the Trump family was, I think in Jamaica Estates, some in that area, which is, 5 or 10 streets away from where I grew up. In townhousey kind of a thing. Anyway, so I grow up, and, you're 10, you're 15, you're 20. I didn't notice anything until, so 20, 25, 30, somewhere in there. And, Trump was wild and crazy guy in the Manhattan area, and he worked for his father, who was a, extremely successful apartment building developer. And because of the density in Manhattan, apartments go up, 15, 20, 30 stories, 25 stories. It was probably the average size building for quite a while. 25 floors up in these apartments. You had all these, you had like 500, 600 families, students. They would roommate with other students, and the husband, wife, and a kid. Husband, a wife, and two kids. Who live in these buildings, and they're all stacked up on top of each other, 25, 30 stories high. See. So Trump was floating around, because of all this development, the Trump family, business became extremely valuable. And so Trump was, one of these guys that float around in a tuxedo going to all the parties of the rich and famous. And then later on, Trump was contracted with NBC, National Broadcasting Corporation, and with The Apprentice. So you had, Trump sitting around this big conference table, and you had all these Hollywood and all these, you had 10 or 15, people of the rich and famous. They would all try to win The Apprentice, to work as an apprentice in the Trump organizations. And you had all kinds, so it was, I think it went on for like 14 years. It was like a #1 primetime rated TV show. Well, because of that, and a few other things, Trump became, an undeniable, he's a celebrity, no matter how you slice it and dice it. Whether you like Trump, whether you like Hillary Clinton, whoever, whatever, that political, doesn't matter. But when Trump announced he was going to have a rally in, whatever city it was, there'd be 40,000 people that would show up. If Trump was running against a political foe, that person would get 12 people, 20 people, 100 people, but not 40,000. I mean, I don't get it exactly. Why would you want to stand there for hours on end? Here I am. Just in case you were wondering. There's Jimmy. Yeah. Over on the right side of your screen is the sideways view of Jimmy. Anyway, I can't understand that. What the... come on, Meryl, let's go stand in the sun for 9 hours waiting for a celebrity to show up, and it talks about, whatever the heck it talks about. But, it's amazing. It's, the magnetism of politics is very strange bedfellows, as my mother used to say, for whatever reason, I don't know. Anyway, here's this picture over on the left. I'm jiggling. Is an artist's rendition of Hope Hicks. There's a name for you. Hope Hicks. Trump trial sketches how a tearful Hope Hicks not happy about Stormy Daniels and all that stuff that's going on. She was a loyal, she was like a gal that would, let's say, manage his appointment books or whatever. And whenever something was up, she'd run in there wherever he was and slip over his shoulder and hand him a little slip of paper that says, "Uh-oh," whatever it says. Anyway, she's, you have to be one of the truly inside people to have the kind of, a staff position that Hope Hicks had in the prior Trump administration. And the Stormy Daniels thing is really, give me a break. She's, whatever happened, what, 17 years ago? And all of a sudden, Trump decides to run for office, and whoop, who's in front of all the microphones? 6-8 months before the election. Up, there comes Stormy again. She's like, get out of here. Jeez, get the hook. You're kind of like old news already. She signed a paper a long time ago, 11 years ago. It said, you know what? None of this stuff happened. I swear to God. Signs a piece of paper in front of a notary. Trump's lawyer, he didn't deal with these people. He had lawyers that dealt with these people. He's a multi-billionaire. He don't have time to deal with every schmutz that comes down the pike, threatening this and threatening that. She's made $1 million off of just hanging around Trump because of something that she swore didn't happen. How about that? Oh, God. They paid her $130,000 to go away. She said, okay, nothing happened. I'll go away. I promise. Well, she violated the non-disclosure agreement. And I don't know, some people think that's a dirty word. It's not a dirty word, and it's not illegal, in any way. I was a banker for over 30 years. Every year, I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement with the bank. And you know what it said? Thou shalt not tell anybody else about someone else's financial situation. Period. Or else we'll hang you by your toenails. You are not to discuss the private and or confidential information about your bank clients to anybody else on the planet. Anybody else. Nobody else. Not spouses. Not brothers, sisters. Not the media. Not anybody. Not the press. Oh, my God. Non-disclosure agreement is a very common thing. The HR department had me sign a non-disclosure agreement. The Human Resource Department says, thou shalt not disclose any of the bank's human resource policies, procedures, and whatever. You sign one of them. I signed several non-disclosure agreements, almost every year of my working life. Signed one at Barnett Bank, 1975. That's a long time ago. Non-disclosure agreements are a way of life if you work in corporate America in any way. And, these wealthy guys and not so wealthy guys, they all have their associates sign non-disclosure agreements. A lot of times, wealthy people, political people, not so political people, will corral someone who's making a little stink about something that is, sordid, nasty, extramarital, intramarital, whatever. And the news media will corral that person that's making the social disturbance, to say it politely. And they'll write an incredible exclusive story about whatever this social disturbance is about. And they'll write this story, and then they'll go to the subject of the story and have them sign an NDA. And the NDA says, this is my story, and you agree that this is my story, and you will sign, and we will pay you, $50,000, which is not chump change, or $100,000, or whatever. So, and you will not give this story up to anybody else because I'm paying for this exclusive story. Do you understand, Miss Stormy Daniels, for example? So the National Enquirer would, huddle with the Stormy and get all the, the nastiness of whatever they're talking about. Get her to sign an NDA. This is all hypothetical, by the way. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just giving you an example of why someone would, what an NDA thing is all about when you're not talking about corporate America. You're just talking about a person, dealing with wealthy people or, vice versa. So she signs an NDA, says, I will not tell anybody else about this sordid story. And that's your story, and if I'm lucky, maybe you publish it. Yep. So, in front of witnesses, she signs honest to God, signs the NDA, notary public verifies that it is truly her, and witnesses her signature. Then the attorney for the aggrieved signs it, or, the media source, whatever. And that is an NDA then is alive and well. And somebody got $50,000 bonus because there was an exclusive story given, to the National Enquirer, for example, fictitiously. So then what happens is the National Enquirer goes to, let's say someone like Trump, says, I have an exclusive story, and I have it under NDA, which means that the story is locked up under a non-disclosure agreement, and no one else can write about this story, and the subject, or the aggrieved, or whatever, has said, I cannot, and will not, and shall not share this story with anybody else. And then Trump, for example, says, okay, I'll give you $25,000, reimburse you some of your $50,000. I'm totally making this up. And you agree not to publish it. Therefore, we got a real juicy story, which I am not acknowledging there's any truth to, and I'm going to give you half of the money that you gave Ms. Daniels so that you will not publish it. And that story then gets trapped in a web of non-disclosure. And it never gets published. And, happens all the time. Particularly when it's, disturbing, nasty topics. Anyway. That doesn't matter with Stormy. She has no morals one way or the other. She's, after all, her, what profession is she in? She's in the profession of getting naked for money. And, I guess she trying to, create a new cult of get America horny again. I don't know. All right, let's move our subject along to. It's not a Mother's Day topic, but let's talk about it anyway. How to, cracking your password. You see this right here? Thumbprint, bio. I mean, those are good things. I have a little thumbprint thing right up in this corner of my computer, which analyzes somehow or other your fingerprint, So, and I have computer, stop. I can't use the word computer or else or Alexa starts talking behind me. Computer, what time is it?
Good morning, J.L. Wilson. The time is 10:30 a.m.
I don't know if you can hear that. I can hear it. I'm trolling in the back of my head. Anyway, fingerprint, bio. You know, God knows how many millions and billions of little things in your fingerprint. You know, that the biomed can look at. You know, I'm always sitting. You know, the computer is fixed here. My MacBook Air, 15-inch screen, MacBook Air with an M2 chip and 2 terabytes of storage, 24 gigabytes of dedicated memory that works with the processors and everything. And this thing stays very nice and cool with all that going on. And if I look carefully, of the 24 gigabytes, it's using 41% of that memory, operating all the stuff that's going on. I got stuff coming here and there, and oh my God, everywhere. Passwords are very important. You know, and you got hackers out there. You know, you have iPhones. You know, God knows I have an iPhone here. But my password is big. And I'm going to show you. I have... now this... Whoops. Yeah, so here we go. Simple 8-digit passwords. Can be 8-digit, simple ones. You know. Like if your password is password, that's not smart. A hacker can figure that out in an average of 38 seconds. Really? That's not any stuff. There we go. Now this, this is a chart produced by HiveSystems.com. HIVE systems.com. All one big, you see it right there? HiveSystems.com /passwords. They came up with this chart. And they said, okay, a simple 4-character password, like pass, PASS, numbers only. It calculates instantly. Lowercase letters, instantly. So pass with a capital P, that'll slow them down. Then it takes 3 seconds. If it's, 4 characters, let's go to 5. So pass with a number. Pass with a with a number, 6 minutes it takes. Now, if you have a special symbol in there, so 5 characters with numbers, there's this very rightmost column, which is where you want to be. Numbers, upper and lowercase letters, and symbols. And you notice how, it takes... And if you have bank accounts or whatever, they've... 4 or 5 years ago, it says, gotta have 10 characters. You can't even, the bank won't even accept the password less than 10 characters. And if it requires uppercase, lowercase, letters and symbols, a 10-character, mix of all that, takes 33,000 years to figure it out. Can you imagine? 33,000 years. I've noticed that some banking sources that I deal with have made me go to 12 characters. It's so annoying. You have to keep changing your passwords. There you go. 12. I circled the number 12 over there. We go scoot all the way over to the right. 164 million years. That's a long time. So as long as you don't, you know, count to 10, capital A, small a, you know, with an exclamation point. Count to 10, 12, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then an exclamation point, and then, you know, capital A, small a. I mean, that would be the stupidest, most simple 12-character password. That might take them a year. But this is millions, billions. I mean, so that's why you can see they've gone to 12. You know, so you should do 10. You know, even if whatever source, you know, that you're dealing with will accept, you know, something less, go to have at least 10 positions of your characters. I guess is the right thing. Have at least 10. That's the first arrow, circle number 10, and use uppercase, lowercase, letters, numbers, symbols. And you got a pretty safe bet they're not going to be able to hack your password. You know? And this is determined by the 12X RTX 4090 computer hardware systems. Okay? That's it. So just wanted to share that with you. You can see that image right there, which will be locked in hyperspace forever, and you can always refer to it. Yep. All right, so I don't know if you've ever seen one of these supercharger things. This is an interesting photograph taken. So this is a supercharger thing, and it, you know, it looks like what's over here next to, in between there. So they took a picture of, you know, white Tesla charging, and took it through the middle of one of the chargers. And you see the 200, there's a little doodad on top of that supercharger position. It says 250 kW. What does that stand for? 250 kilowatts. That's a 250,000 watt charger. So what does that mean? What? It's a lot of watts. Oh, God. It means that it is a very powerful one. Predecessors to that charger was 150 kilowatt, and before that 125, and they had, you know, 100 kilowatt chargers and so forth. It means the amount of power that can be squeezed into your battery when you're sitting there trying to get a fill up, so to speak. So it's kind of like if you were in a gas station, you had a big fat hose as opposed to a little skinny hose. 250 kilowatts is a lot of watts. It means that if your battery system is capable of accepting, you know, this amount of current going into the battery, you'd add a couple of 100 miles of range in about 10 minutes. Okay? That's what that means. And if you let it, if you let it stay connected longer, you know, you probably have a 400 mile range battery, and you can get 350 to 400 miles of range, you know, in 15, 20 minutes. That's what 250 kilowatts would do. Now, in our Model Y, we can only, I'll have to get my trusty calculator out. We can only accept 50 amps. Okay? So if I have 230 volts times, actually it's 48 amps. There you go. That's 11 kilowatts. So we can only accept an 11 kilowatt charge that goes into the battery, you know. So, and that would be the equivalent of about 50 miles of range per hour. So in 5 hours, that'd be 250 miles of range. Or in 6 hours, 300 miles of range in 6 hours. So, you plug in, if you get home at 6, making this up, and you plug in your trusty dusty charger, and, you got a 50 amp circuit, 230 volts, then by midnight, your battery is fully charged. And, by the next morning, it's fully charged by midnight. Now, most people, have, let's say, they have a 32 amp circuit. All right, let's get our calculator out. Clear this. So we got 32 amps times 230 volts. That's 7 kilowatts. So with a 7 kilowatt charge rate, that's kilowatts per hour, kilowatt hours. So 7 kilowatt hours means roughly 25 miles of range. Let's just say 30 miles of range per hour. So every 2 minutes you get another mile. Or, 30 miles in an hour. So 10 hours is 300 miles of range. So you're going on a trip, we got a 300 mile battery. So everyday charging, they want you to charge like 250 miles of range every day. They don't want you to charge 100% every day. They seem to think, with years and years of testing, that if you charge it that, you fill up the battery, that's not, not the best thing. So they ask you for everyday charging, keep it at around 80% charge. So 3 times 8 is 24. So that means charge it up to 240 miles of range. However, when you start getting down to the bottom of the tank, so to speak, figuratively speaking, don't go below 10%. So that means of a 300 mile battery, don't touch that 30 miles down there, and only charge to 240 up there. So 240 less 30, that's 210. So that means you charge up to 80%, and you don't go below 10%. You go up to 80% and don't go below 10%. Yep, that's 200 miles of range. So with a 300 mile battery, you really don't get 300 miles of range every day. You only get 200. Well, 200 is fine. Remember, every day that or every other day, or every third day, whatever your driving range is, you're driving out the driveway with a full tank, or 80% full all the time. Whereas with a gas tank, it's 80%, 70%, 60%. And you don't ever want to drive into a gas station running on fumes, so to speak. So you're not going to touch the bottom 5 or 10% of your fuel tank either. If you're dealing with petrochemicals like gasoline, most people, diesel, same thing. You don't want to run down to, matter of fact, it's actually a little on the dangerous side if you run down to the bottom of your tank with a diesel, because, there could be water down there and all kinds of, dirt and stuff. So you want to stay out of the very bottom of a diesel tank, because diesel fuel is not the cleanest fuel on the planet. But gasoline is. Isooctane, that's clean. You don't want to breathe it. The fumes are toxic, You don't want hydrocarbons in your lungs. No. Because they hang around and they attach themselves to, livers and kidneys and things. I don't know where they actually attach to, but it's not good to breathe hydrocarbons if you can avoid it. Anyway, so that's a little story about electricity. Let's go back to our photo thing. There you go. So Tesla's talking about the Tesla they fired they fired everybody in there. That was the specialty unit within the Tesla company. Tesla's a big company. They employ like 130,000 employees, I think, something. It's a lot. It's a bunch. And they just fired 10,000 positions. And part of the positions they fired was just about everybody that was in the unit that was building these Tesla charging stations all over the globe. And, so since things are slowing down a little bit in our economy, which is starting to filter through and everything, car sales. Now, Tesla sells a whole lot of, electric cars. You hear a lot about, Ford and General Motors and other companies, Mercedes and BMW. They're not making. They're just beginning maybe to, build electric cars. Tesla's been doing it for, 12 years. Not a lot in 12 years ago, but more than what the electric car companies today are doing, non-Tesla electric companies. And of course, you go into, last year they sold a couple million. The year before that was, 1.5 million. The year before that was 1 million, So you add it all up. There's a lot of Tesla, you can, I drive, we drive around all over the place and seeing a lot more Teslas floating around on the streets these days. And, we're on our second one, and I promise you, I was not, I am a scientist kind of a guy, I have to admit, even though I've been in banking all my working life. I never worked in the chemistry. I was, I was built as a chemist, biochemist. But, I just never ended up in the laboratory after I got out of school. I immediately started teaching high school math, just because I didn't know what else to do. And they needed math teachers like crazy. So I figured, all right, I'll teach math. I had a math minor. You have majors, minors. Well, I had a math minor because I had to have a math minor because I was a chemistry student. And you had to have a lot of math because you had to calculate, molal solutions and molar solutions. There's a lot of math in chemistry, oddly enough. And so I had a math minor. But I'm telling you, in high school, I was not the best student on the planet. It just kind of bored me. I wasn't interested because it was boring. So when I was in, I mean, this is kind of funny, but truthful. Have to be truthful. So I'm going to teach a class in geometry. Okay, that's angles. You get the this side, that side, the hypotenuse. The sine of this and the cosine of that and the tangent of this. So when you're doing your lesson plans to teach all your little high school students, and I'm teaching geometry. So I'd have to read that geometry book really good because I didn't do too well with geometry when I was in high school, freshman, sophomore year, whenever you take it, sophomore year probably. And so I had to learn it almost for the first time. Thinking, oh, that's what cosine is. I mean, it wasn't quite that bad, but it was, I had, you can't teach it unless you know what the hell you're talking about. At least that's how I figured, I got to know what the hell I'm talking about. So I read it this way, that way. I turned the book upside down. I know inside out. I knew geometry. Well, when you teach a whole year worth of geometry, trigonometry, you kind of learn the topic. And I learned the topic and I became very good at it. And I became so good at it, I could actually teach it. And I did a good job at it. And the students learned, about how to do those sine, cosine, and tangent. Yes, sir. Opposite. opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse. Which one is sine and which one is cosine? I'm not going to tell you. And which one is... Yes, sir. Anyway, so that was important. Teaching high school math. Yep. And I learned about, I became analytical, and I pay attention to the security stuff and cracking passwords and having some people don't even have passwords. How do you have an iPhone and not have a password? I didn't know you could have an iPhone without a password. Ugh. Use the Face ID thing. It has a little setup thing where it analyzes your, the 20 or 30 characteristic facial recognition things. Do the Face ID thing. No matter how ugly your face is or pretty, and and the Face ID inventory of pictures that it stores in a very secret place on the chip. It's a very secret place on the chip, and is not shared, and it is not stored off the phone. So it is buried in a little tiny holding, piece of the, the chip system that is inaccessible. You can't even take the thing apart and get to where the facial ID stuff is stored. On the phone only. It's not stored anywhere else. Yep. Nope. Okay. I promise. That's what they tell me. Look at this. Is that spectacular or what? That is taken with my iPhone. And let's see. We can go up here and touch on that. And that's a 1 megapixel image captured with my iPhone. It was taken at 8:09 a.m. hour and a half ago or so. And you see in the header file, it tells you right where I took the picture. And if we zero in, Plaza Real South. Can you believe it? That's right about where our apartment is. Looking east. There you go. That's where I took that picture. Amazing. We can get 3D. We can get satellite view. I don't know why it's not satellite view. Here we go. Satellite. There we go. That's better. See, now you can get an idea where we are. And I can rotate this around. And then we can go 3D. You see the ocean? Look at that. And in the background, is the Boca Hotel. There you go. Boca Hotel, over there to the upper right. And they're just building. They're going 3 stories up on the Alina. You can see 3 cranes. Can you believe that? 3 cranes suspended. I mean, that gives you an idea how old this picture is. A couple years old. And of course, it's right in front of our window. So looking this way, I can see the Boca Hotel with this view. Because if I turn it just like here, we can look straight across in here, and there's like a little break right here. And this little break right here is where I can see to the Boca Hotel. It's like magical that these buildings are lined up. So from our balcony, I can still see the Boca Hotel. All of it. Amazing. Yep. But we lose a lot of the golf course, as you can tell. But we can look over this way. You see, I look straight ahead, and we can see the ocean. We can see a little sliver of the ocean. Yeah, you look out and see the boats. I have a pair of binoculars to peer into those boats from a long distance. We are 1 mile exactly from the beach. 1 mile. 5,280 feet. So 8 stories up, we're probably safe from most tsunamis. Crazy as that. Anyway, so there we go. Get rid of that XF data. Look at that. Look at those colors. Look at the inside of this orchid. The yellows and the detail. The moisture droplets on the petals. Yep. There's a rose and an orchid. The two favorite, and the blues and the yellows. I mean, is that the most unbelievable picture? You can, that could be on a postcard or a Mother's Day card, for example. Oh, jeez. Does that slap you in the face with a rose or what? I mean, that is like unbelievable. Whoa! Yeah, I love it. Peonies. That's another favorite flower. It opens up. It closes and opens. Yep. Hilton from the New York flower people sent this over. Yep, happy Mother's Day. Marilyn is the world's best mother. Oh, God. If the children of the world had mothers like Marilyn, there would be no strife on this planet. No way. Usually these bad people that create problem on our planet, they were not mothered well or fathered well or both. You know, it's usually a parental thing. Like they didn't have any or something, you know, something. They're likely not born this way. You know, it's terrible. But that's, you know, when you see good people floating around on the planet, they probably have some really good parents. And bad people, they probably, it's not that the parents weren't good, but they didn't parent their children properly, I think. Now, I can write a book when I do not know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows that. In case you're new to the channel, you know, I don't know much about that, but I know that what good mothering has enriched all our children for them. Okay, Delta Miles. Those are coconuts. They're opened up, or what looks like a coconut. And apparently the Biden administration is cracking down on credit card perks because it evades taxation. You know, when you're spending too much, you try to squeeze the turnips as much as you can to get tax money in to cover your deficit spending. And we are in the 24 trillion mark, which is 130% of GDP, which is like a huge number. Are there 3 rate cuts coming in 2024? I don't know. Guess what? This is May 12th, 13, 14, 15. On Wednesday, on the 15th. This is Sunday the 12th. 13, 14, 15. On the 15th, on Wednesday, we are going to get the CPI for April. And somewhere in this, I'm looking through, paging backwards. I'm going to show you something that's important. I promise. I'm paging through in rapid pace. Oh my God, not so rapid pace. Oh, look at all these. Oh, gee. Oh, here it is. Bingo. Inflation under our current administration. And you see the blue line all the way over here. the inflation rate was 1.4% in January, which is the inauguration of our current administration. And January, February, March, April, May, June. And then the next June, a year and a half later, we wouldn't call that a sudden increase. It went from 1 to 9% in a year and a half. It's almost like a 45-degree angle up. Okay? Not a 90-degree angle up, a 45-degree angle up, which is not good, but it's not a straight line up. That's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. No. That's 1 year. So in 1 year it was, just under 8. And then the next year it's over 9. The next 6 months. And, so then they stopped spending, $2 trillion a year to, like $750 billion a year. And it came down to like 3%. And then it went up to 3.5%. And now it was 3.5%, in March. Now, what is it going to be? Is it 3.8? I don't know what it is. I haven't begun to do any calculations. If it's 2.8, let's just be positive. Let's say it's 2.8. If April comes in 2.8, yep, we're going to see a rate cut. May not be, but would it be in June? It's not going to. March, April, May, June. If it's in the twos, we're probably going to get a rate cut or two in this year, but later in the year. I don't think it'll be an immediate rate cut because that could drive, inflation right back up again. So, but if it's 3.8, let's be pessimists. Let's say it goes up even higher because things aren't slowing up fast enough. All these economic things. Then you can maybe there'd be one rate cut in the very, end of the year. If it gets to 4, something like that. Yep. So that's what happens on Wednesday. So Wednesday is going to be the talk of the town on what the Federal Reserve is going to do. These are numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. See in the very bottom there? Bureau Labor of Statistics. Yeah. And one of the news agencies came up with this graphic, which is, so here's another way to look at it. Same data, just a line graph instead of bar. This is also from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And you can see just before the current administration took office, it was down a little bit over 1 and shot up to over 9 a year and a half later. And then 10 months after that, it comes back and it's been hovering, between 3 and 3.8. Yep. So, and here's the actual empirical data, not expressed in a chart. Stop. There we go. And we can, see September 1.4, October, November, December, January. So here's January 2021. That's when our current administration took office. The swearing-in ceremony happens in January of 2021. November of 2020 is when the election was held. Okay? On that month, it was 1.2. In January, when the swearing-in occurred, it was 1.4. Then I went, 0.6, year and a half later, it's 9.1. And then a year from June is 3. And then it's 3.2, 3.7, 3.7, 3.2, 3.1, 3.4, 3.1, 3.2, 3.5. So the last not seasonally adjusted rate of inflation was 3.5. We got that information on April 15th, for March. And now May 15th, we get it for April. And yeah, let's see where it is. Will it be 3.2 or will it be 3.8 or 3.7 or whatever? I have no. I don't have a instinct on that. You remember I was talking about gold? Well, I've been trying to get our family to buy gold. When gold was like $17.50 an ounce, I said, "Come on, let's put in $50K into gold, $50,000, I mean." Well, a few years ago, you could buy one of these. A kilo is 2.2 pounds of gold. All right, so what's 2.2 pounds? That's 35.2. A kilo is about 35 ounces of gold. And what is the price of gold? The price of gold is around, well, today it's worth $22,350 an ounce. Well, if you multiply, 35 ounces times 23.50, you get $82,000 in round numbers, 82,720, to buy one of these kilogram bars. And a kilogram of gold is, oh boy, let's see. I'll just take out this flashlight. And it's about this much. This is a small flashlight. There we go, I lit it up a little bit. You see right here? That would be about what's out of my fist, above my fist. Oh yeah, there we go. That would be about a kilogram of gold. Gold is heavy. Heavy. Whoops. It's heavy like lead. Yeah. Yeah. Just about lost everybody. There we go. Sorry. I touched my very persnickety little attachment that goes into my computer for my video signals here. Whoa! It's getting a little risky. There we go. Whoa! There we go. Whew. Are we settled down? Yeah. Thank you. Anyway, that's my story about gold. The Chinese are buying gold like crazy. That's one of the reasons why it went up pretty high. Chinese are real worried about inflation. So Chinese people are buying up these kilogram bars. Gold bars are selling like hotcakes in Korea. I'm sorry, I said Chinese. I meant Korea. The Asians love gold. I had a faculty professor friend of mine back at FAU. He said, "Jimmy, buy gold. Every chance you can, buy a gold coin. Just pick one." And the gold buffalo, let's see if I can find one. Gold, O-L-D, buffalo, gold buffalo. There it is right there. This coin right here, there it is. You see that right there? That is produced by the United States Mint. That's the back of the coin. That's why they call it a buffalo, because there's a buffalo. And you see down the bottom here, it says 0.9999 fine gold. 1 ounce of fine gold. That's what that is. Yep. The United States Mint produces, hundreds of thousands of these gold coins, and they're pure gold. All right? There's no copper in there. There's no zinc. There's, like in our quarters, and, you find all kinds of different metals in there with silver, or not even silver sometimes. But this coin right here is called a gold bullion coin. All right? It's pure gold. And this was minted in 2013 because you can see that 2013 in there. They've been making them, I guess, since 2013. So this is 2025. So you got 12-year history of making these things. Gosh. Go back to the other side. There we go. Oh, do an expando thing. See, 0.99949s. That's about as pure as you can get. 1 ounce, 1 OZ. That's an O for ounce. 1 OZ. $50 gold coin. But this sucker is worth $3,500 right now. $3,550. You add mintage, you buy it from your place where you can buy gold coins. It probably cost you $2,400, $24.25, something like that. Add $75, add $100 a coin. Now the nice thing about a gold coin like this, what is known as a bullion coin, gold bullion, because it's kind of like the gold bar, but this is an actual, United States of America coin. E pluribus unum. The United States government, has minted this coin. So, you don't need a serial number on it. It's easy to assay in case someone isn't familiar with the coin. You can turn them into any jewelry store, or most jewelry stores. A lot of people, will buy and sell these gold coins, bullion coins. And when something goes from $1,700 an ounce to $2,300 an ounce, that's like a 40% increase. So gold has gone up 40% in the last 3 years or so, which is a huge increase. The world isn't, ouch, is afraid of inflation, and so the world buys these coins. Everybody buys these coins, and they buy all kinds of coins. My theory is go for a bullion, a safe, bullion coin, because now you're not paying for any numismatic value. In other words, you're not buying the coin because it's rare. You're not buying the coin because it's old, because it's not old and it's not rare, because there are millions of these things out there. The United States Mint does not sell these things to the direct public, per se. They distribute them through, major coin places. And then you can go to those places and buy the coins. But you can see here, this is the mintage of the coins. So far, or at least in March, they've only minted 66,000 of these things. But there's about 400,000 a year for 23, 22, 21, and 20. Which is a lot. They're minting a lot of them. There's footnote 10. Let's see what that says. Modern Coin Mart. Yeah. Anyway, let's see our place where we buy coins from. APM. Yeah. APMEX. APMEX, American Precious Metals Exchange. I think that's what that stands for. You see, there it is, 23. So you can see right here on this, gold is, there you can see a chart. Let's go 5-year chart of gold. Look at that, 5 years. $1,100. Can you imagine? 5 years ago, it was $1,175 an ounce. And now it's $2,300 an ounce. That's more than double in 5 years. And it's a precious metal. It's not like some goofy stock. Let's see, silver. What has silver done in 5 years? Let's do a 5-year graph on silver. Silver goes up and down and up and down. And see, silver is not, that's not as reliable a number. And you can see over the last 3.5 years, silver has been trading in the $24 to $27 range for 3.5 years in a row. Now platinum used to be a favorite. If you're looking at the charts over on the left side of your Bunker Wagnall. Now platinum sort of has it's gone from $1,000 an ounce up to, now what is this over here? Oh, I'm sorry, I need to get a 5-year chart. Platinum, so platinum is one of those metals that gets used in industry. Silver is one of those metals that gets used in industry. Gold, that's a precious metal. It gets used in jewelry, which is also a precious metal. So it's not being, you have gold contacts, but, they spray that on, it's gold, essence of gold. But you can see, that's a pretty exciting chart. There's whole years. Whew. Look at that. That's the 25-year chart. Back in the day when you could buy gold for $100 an ounce. Now it's $2,300 an ounce. You kidding? Whew. Unbelievable. So gold is, if you don't know what to do with something, so then you have these guys sell everything. So you want to, the Krugerrand used to be a favorite. But see, these coins have numismatic value. In other words, they have a value because they're rare, or they're old, or they're rare and old. Use a kilogram bar, $77,000 for a kilogram bar. Let's see if we can, whatever government that is. You can pretty much, some of these international sources. 77,000. Here's a 10-ounce gold bar. Trying to look at this is Australia. It's producing a 10-ounce. So that'd be $24,000 per bar. You know what? My suggestion is buy what you can of these gold coins. These guys, where are they? Where are they? U.S. Mint gold coins. Go there. And we're going to go to Buffalo right there. There's the Buffalo. $2,460 a piece. Right there, on sale. On sale. Make it sound like it's eggs. Yep. You buy 1 to 9 of them. You send a wire or a check, $2,478 a piece. If you trade it against cryptocurrency, it's $2,504. If you use a credit card or PayPal, $2,581. Because you got to pay for the credit card fees. But if you send a wire or a check, $2,480, $2,478, $2,480, round numbers. And if you buy 100 or more, which, forget that. But coin by coin, you end up with an extra couple $1,000. Buy a gold coin. There are half-ounce gold coins. That's 1 ounce Buffalo. But the Buffalo is an ounce. So just save up and buy a buffalo coin whenever you can, and then stick it in your apartment vault, and or a safe place. If you don't know any better, just put it in your jewelry box. And if you end up with too many of them, you can take and slip a few in your bank vault. Nice thing about a coin, you put it in your pocket. Just make sure you don't have a hole in your pocket. Yeah, gold coins are nice. So you put it away. Just put it away. And keep buying them as often as you can. Don't, make sure you have enough money for make sure you have enough money for your vitamins and your minerals and your food and, your entertainment and all this kind of stuff. Aside from any politics, when you get 90 to 100,000 people show up to see somebody, and it's not the Pope. The Pope will get, they'll get 100,000, 200,000, a million people, whatever, Depending on how you count. I remember I used to be so 100,000 people is a lot of people to stand around somebody that's he's a celebrity. He's a celebrity more than he's a politician. But, he stands up there and he talks and they cheer and they rant. It's amazing, whether you believe in whatever he's talking about or not. Some of the things you got to believe in, but some things you don't. But it's just, it's a newsworthy event, irrespective of whether you like the politics of what he says. And I don't know anybody that likes everything that he says. But it is certainly news. My God. Buy gold. Pay attention to the news. Anyway, I told you, we're on our second Tesla. And Tesla is an unbelievable car. If you've never driven one, then you don't understand. Now it's a $50,000 car, round numbers, 50. You can lease it for about between $500 and $600 a month. $50,000 car. If you got average credit scores, about $550 a month. Okay. You know what the service expense is? 0. We've had there's no oil change. There is no fuel filter. There is no air filter for the engine. There's, I add water to the windshield wiper thingy. You open up the hood. They call it the front trunk. The frunk. That's, you want to have a front name, bro. It's the front trunk. Because it has a front trunk and a rear trunk. Because there ain't no big gasoline engine with a radiator. And, we have to add radiator or antifreeze. No. You don't have any of that. You don't have radiator leaks. You don't have leaks in your garage. The only thing that leaks out of the bottom of the car is condensed water from your air conditioner. That's it. The motor drivetrain is a sealed system. It is sealed, bolt sealed. Sealed system. They check it every 5 years somehow in the service center. They open up this special little bolt and they top it off with it's sealed, so it doesn't evaporate, doesn't leak. It doesn't need, they don't change it. They might, I don't know what they do. I've never had a car long enough to where they've ever opened up the sealed system. But there's a motor in the front, a motor in the back. It's the whole drivetrain is guaranteed 8 years. The battery is guaranteed 8 years. we're on 3-year leases. So at the end of 3 years, I turn the car in, get another one. There's no, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just turn that sucker in and get another one. This year, they sent me a text message and it said, "Dear Jimmy and Marilyn, we got a deal for you. How about we pick up, Tesla will pick up your last 2 months of your lease, which is June, ends in June. So April and May, we'll pick up April and May. You pay March. You turn in your car, we'll give you another one. And we'll give you $500 worth of excess wear and tear." And we happen to have a little dent on the side, on the driver's side. Actually, it was a sizable dent. It was like someone threw a softball or a baseball at me at 200 miles an hour. Bam! At this dent. I mean, really, it was a dent the size of a baseball. Bam! Someone threw a baseball at me at 200 miles an hour. I don't know how it happened, but it was a dent. Probably promulgated in the parking lot in Publix or something. It just didn't, get in and out of the car, didn't notice it. And all of a sudden I said, "Holy crap, what's that?" About 5-6 months before we traded it in. Anyway, that's done. The excess wear and tear with that dent. Otherwise, it was flawless. It was $552. They gave me a $500 allowance, so I had to pay $52 and the tax on $52. I paid $55 excess wear and tear because they covered the first $500. All right, so that was a good deal. Turned it in, turned it out. I mean, they picked up a car that had a dent, which they fixed, and but it only had, it was under 20,000 miles on a 30,000 mile lease. Because when we drive, 6,500 miles a year, Marilyn takes the car back and forth to work, which is 4.4 miles away. And then, other driving, less than 7,000 miles a year. If it was 7,000 miles, 3 times 7 is 21. Well, it was 18.5. To be a little more precise. It's actually a little tiny bit under 18.5. But the car, it just works. Has a 15-inch screen in the middle between the driver's and the passenger side. So the passenger can see what the driver can see. There's this big screen. And, where has mapping, whatever it is, on the left side of the screen, it has, evidence of what the cars look like in front of you, on either side of you, and so forth, and where you are in position to all the cars surrounding you. So you can see that in the visualization thing. So because it's got cameras all the way around the car. It's got 8 cameras all the way around. 3 in the front, a couple on the sides, and 1 on the back. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 on the back, 8. That's pretty much it. It's got 3 cameras facing frontwards. Wide angle telephoto and one in between in the front. 3 front facing cameras. And then it has right above the front bumper on each front driving wheel, it has a camera right there, facing kind of, like to the side and back. And then it has a camera up in the column between the driver's side and the passenger side window on either side. It has a camera facing, kind of outward, so you can see the cars to the side of you. So the camera that's by the front bumper is facing kind of 45-degree angle backwards. So it covers a blind spot really good. So you don't have a blind spot when you drive a Tesla. Because when you're driving in a car, if you start to ooze a little bit to the left and you're in the middle lane and there's a car in your blind spot, a whole red barrier comes up, on your screen, which is, unmistakable. So, and it's like a faded, it goes red, dark red to faded, and gives you plenty of warning if you're going to be squeezing a car over there. Yep. So, what's not to like? The car's like unbelievable. Tesla is now offering a discounted 99% financing. That's what we got. That's pretty much what we got. We paid for the destination fee and a couple other fees. I don't think we put anything down on the car itself. It was, which I'm pretty sure what they mean by that. Yeah. Yep. New long range 603. Yep, before incentives, if there are any. Yep. We got, the car became 50,000. It was actually 52.5, and they gave us a $2,600 discount. They just called it discount. You want to see? Anyone interested? Yeah. We just had 35 people raise their hand. So let's Model Y. Let's order now. You can see. Matter of fact, I'll make this full screen. Bingo. There you go. So you can see that right now, right? Whoop. We want long range all-wheel drive. And then we're going to change the payment thing here just to get it, just for clarity. We're going to put $2,000 because that's the destination fee, and and we're doing lease. You see, it's $2,999. We're going to put $2,000. Or a 6-month lease. Included estimated taxes. There we go. There's okay. So let's just get that out of the way right away. So now we'll get out of there. Now we'll go back to the front of this thing. Leasing. We want the all-wheel drive. So whenever you see little leasing figures, like $440 a month, okay, let's see what happens. We want black paint, $1,500 for that. We don't want the extra. We want white interior. That's unbelievable. So now we've added $2,500 worth of stuff. I'm not going to pay $8,000 for software because I'm leasing. And if I turn the car in, I don't know where that software goes. So we're going to not consider that. All right. If we order the Model Y, let's hit continue. We're not going to order it. Marilyn, we're not going to order it. I promise. Review your order. This is a demonstration. I will stop before we hit the pay button. All right. Lease. See, $580 a month. There you go. Let's hit show details. Okay. So the vehicle price is $5,309.90. Okay. There's no discount. They show you gas savings a lot. Yeah. That's true. You will say that, but we're worried about what we pay, every month. The electric we plug in, we understand that. So $580 a month. Yep. That's it. That's a $5,300 car. You try to go to any car dealer right now and see what you can buy for $580 a month. This is $2,000 down on and that's title, tax. That's all the transfer fees. You got to pay, and the and the transportation to get the car to you from Austin, Texas, I believe. That's where our car was manufactured in March, and we got the car in April, or something like that. There we go. That's how you do it. And then you say you want to pay by Apple Pay or you want to pay by credit card. And you put down $250 now, non-refundable. So if you got a 500 credit score, forget it. If you got a 600 credit score, you're pretty likely going to get yourself a Tesla if you can swallow $580 a month, which is, what the heck? It's a nice car. And guess what? No, every couple thousand miles, gas, oil change, radiator, this, that, nothing. Oh, God. That's it. Yep. That's what happens when you buy a Tesla. You do it right online, boom, bam, boom. It shows up in Delray, you go pick up the car, and that's it. If you got a trade-in, you can trade it in. They'll take a trade-in. Or you can sell it at cars.com, or, we sold when we first got one of these guys, we sold our Hondas to CarMax. And the car was more valuable. You couldn't get a new one. The chip shortage, remember all that stuff 4 years ago? We sold our car at CarMax and made $7,000 for a Honda. Unbelievable. CarMax gave us a cashier's check for $7,000. We handed them the car keys. It took about an hour and a half. They give you an appraisal over the phone or over your whatever. iPhone, I think it was. And then we drove in there. They had an appraiser walk around the car, said, yep, that's what it is. They hand the paperwork into, the paperwork people. And Mr. Wilson, line number 7. You sit down with some sweet young lady and she goes through the paperwork. You sign your odometer reading thing, state of Florida required thing. And everything looks fine, and they give you a cashier's check. And, it's like a Saturday or a Sunday or something or other. On Monday, you take it into the bank and deposit that sucker. Yes, sir. Yep. We had 2 Hondas. We turned them both in. Turned one in 1 week, turned one in the other week. I had a little dent on the front right passenger side. A big ass, pardon me, a big dog ran into the front of me. Really, it ran right into it was only going 15 miles an hour, but it's a big dog. And dented the front of the front side of the car. CarMax said, no problem, we'll take it the way it is. Yeah, $200 they fixed that. It saved me from having to fool with it. I figured, let's see what happens. I figured I was going to get dinged for $500. I said, no, we'll take it as is. Yes, sir. I agree with you. Valuable car. Unbelievable. Anyway, so Tesla Model 3 after 6 years. Well, I don't know what they were like 6 years. They keep selling these suckers. I can tell you, there's man on the street. We got the other one 3 years ago. 2021. We got it in June 11th, 2021. And never had to do a thing with it. Yep. A little footnote. About a year ago, I got a little warning light that said, take it into the service center. You may have a low voltage 12 volt battery thing. I took it in there. 15 minutes later, said, yeah, the 12 volt battery looked a little low. We just replaced it. Just put a new one, and that was it. I couldn't have been in there 12 minutes. Said, oh yeah, we checked everything else out too. Everything's fine. You know, they just plug it in. It's all electronic. I mean, these cars are so electric. It's unbelievable. You don't have a key. Your phone is your key. They keep on saying that. Your phone is your key. Your phone is your key. So when you go sit with this attractive young lady when she's delivering the car to you from the Delray Service Center, where they had a few of these Teslas lined up ready to deliver to people like ourselves. We had an appointment at 5:30. We were there at 5:15. We waited 15 minutes and boom, 5:30. This sweet young thing comes out and says, Mr. Wilson, let's walk this way. And there's the car, and it says, Tesla Model Y for the Wilsons. It's in the windshield. I mean, these guys are like, oh my God, I think I saved it. Yeah, this big white thing in the front of the windshield. The Wilsons Model Y. Yes, it was. And she takes you through everything. She says, may I see your phone? So I had my iPhone there. She said, these are your cards. You end up with two credit card looking things. Let me put this back on stereo view so you can see me over here on the right side. See, here's the doodad, which you've seen before. And inside here is the Tesla card. There it is. So when you get your card, you get one of these, looks just like a credit card. And it says Tesla on it. And on the back, I glued on my name and address in case I lost it. But you just tap this. It shows you in this little graphic thing, which you tap the card between the column, between the front window and the rear window. Either side, you can tap it on either side, but if you're the driver, you know, on the driver's side, there's a column between the driver's side window and the rear passenger window. You just tap the card on that, unlocks the car, which is what she did. She unlocked the car with the new cards that she had. And then she's sitting in the car. She says, Mr. Wilson, may I have your phone? So I give her my iPhone. She said, I'm going to open up the app that you have on here because it's all zeroed in on the other car. And we're going to make your phone the key. Your phone is your key for the new car. And the other one will drop off in a couple hours when we reset the computer system. Get rid of the old connectivities. And that was it. I said, can we do that with Marilyn's phone too? Marilyn, give me your phone. So we got her phone, we got hers signed on. She said, that's it. Your phones are your keys. You each, you know, here's two cards. Distribute them as you see. So Marilyn has one she keeps in her purse. And I have one I keep actually in my back pocket. I have a third card, which I had activated for this car. Because I bought an extra card or two. So, but I keep this in my back pocket. So if for some reason or other my battery runs out of juice, you know, how do you get in the car? Well, you get in the car because you can use your card. If someone steals your phone, or your battery runs out, or your phone becomes disabled for some reason, you know, the iPhone becomes disabled because of an Apple iPhone problem. You know, something happens. And the Tesla app doesn't work on your phone anymore for some reason. You know, SHI, ship happens. Another word that rhymes with ship. Ship happens. Yeah. Hasn't happened to us or me yet, but your phone is your key. And Marilyn is off with her girlfriend right now, taking her to the beach. And I can dial up the app, which is already on. Let's see where she is. Oh, she's 1371 North Ocean Boulevard. So she is still at the beach. I can see her on the map. 1400 North Ocean Boulevard. Nice little parking place. They go right to the beach. Lynn Ward Field is one of her friends that she grew up with, when she was a little girl in South Miami. And the odd thing about Lynn was married to Westfield. I used to play racquetball with him every morning, or every other morning. In the Coconut Grove racquetball thingy. When I was a banker in Miami at Royal Trust Bank. And Wes is huge. It's like 6'7". Oh boy. And I'm, so it was like David and Goliath, because I'm, 5'8" if I think tall. So we played racquetball, and oh my God, he could, seems like he could reach his arms one way and the other and touch both walls. Anyway, we had very, very straight. We were like tied. He was big and lanky, and I was small and fast. And the combination made for some very exciting racquetball matches. And we had a gallery of people watching us play, because we were like, phew, it was like racquetball. Yes, sir. And I would get so overheated. Oh my God. I'd get in the showers, after an hour and a half of racquetball with Westfield, and I would just turn the water on cold. Which, when you're in the public water system, in Miami, cold is not so cold. If you're in Buffalo, New York, cold water is really cold coming out of the spigot. But anyway, it was, it was, the water was not hot, but it was, probably 75-degree water coming out of the nozzle in the shower. I turned it on cold, 100% cold. And I just stand under the cold water for like 30 minutes just to cool my body down. Whoa! So we really worked ourselves up into a lather playing racquetball every couple of days a week. That's all I could tolerate. And then we, dress up, put our suits and ties on, and go to work. Like we, started the day at, we were playing racquetball at 6:30 in the morning. Wow, woo, 6:30 to 7:30, maybe 7:45. I'd be in the shower in cold water for at least 30 minutes. There's no way I could even think of putting a tie around my neck, right away, even with 30 minutes of cold water. Whew, God, that was unbelievable. Anyway, so that's Westfield. Well, Marilyn's friend here is Lynn Ward Field. She was married to the guy I played racquetball with. And I didn't know who she was. He was married to somebody, named Lynn, but I didn't know it was, I actually was not, I didn't even know Marilyn. I saw her across the room, but we worked in the same company, but I wasn't, I didn't know her as a friend. We weren't romantically, for sure. Had no interest there at all. I barely noticed her across the room, kind of thing. She's, attractive person, so it's not like. But I didn't know. I really didn't have many conversations with her at all, one-on-one. None, zero. I don't remember talking to her even with a group of people, actually, except Bob Curtis made me participate as a facilitator. There were 8 facilitators and there were 40 students. And there were students that flew in from all over the state of Florida, 30 something of them. And Maryland was in that select group of students. And I was part of 8 or 10, I think it was 8 facilitators. And I had a half a day, like on Thursday, making that up. I think, a morning or an afternoon session. You had morning and afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then morning session on Friday. So there were probably 7 facilitators. So I taught a half a day, I think, on Thursday. And I actually didn't even, you stand in front of a group of people, you don't really eyeball every single person when there's 40 in the room in front of you. I had this topic, which which I don't actually remember what the topic was. Yeah, and some banking, finance, real estate, sort of commercial loan, something. I don't know. A topic that was interesting. I was, I gave an interesting speech. I always do. I always mix it up and make it interesting so people don't, sleep in the back of the room, But at the end of this event, this very unique Royal Trust event, they locked us up in the Daphne Hotel, in the Watergate Rivergate Hotel, Sheraton Rivergate. Yeah, sorry, a little senior moment. The Sheraton Rivergate. It was 45 years ago, by the way. So, the Sheraton Rivergate. They locked everybody up in a hotel. They flew people in, from Jacksonville, from Tampa, Orlando, west coast of Florida, the north coast of Florida. And, had some local folks, like Marilyn lived in Miami, and I lived in Coral Springs, I think it was. And Karen Brown was involved somehow or other. She had a piece. Jill Thagard was Treasury gal, ran the Fed machines. She was involved. Jimmy was involved, real estate, commercial loans, commercial lending. So when it was all done on Friday afternoon at 4:30, everybody had to convene in the Sides Rivergate Lounge, which one of the few times that the Rivergate Plaza shut off the entire lounge to the public. No public permitted. It was strictly Royal Trust, the 40 participants, the 8 facilitators, and about 8 people that flew in from Canada to individually hand out diplomas, certificates, whatever it was, to each of the participants to this very unique, very expensive Royal Trust training designed for people that were going to run the department 10 years from now. That's what people around the state had to decide. Which of these few people, you're allowed 2, are you going to send here that are going to be running the department 10 years from now? That's the person we want in this training, 1 week solid training. We're going to fly them in, we're going to fly them out, we're going to feed them, we're going to put them in a nice hotel room, we're going to entertain them in the evening maybe. That was it. So then we had this they handed out all the diplomas, and then they had this big cocktail party where everybody swarmed around in the Daphne Lounge. Very nice, upscale Miami lounge, right next to the airport. And we all swarmed around until about 7:30. American Airlines is leaving on gate 23. Will those that are flying back to Tampa please arrange themselves in the lobby to be escorted over to Terminal 27? So that, 4 or 5 people would leave, because they were, and that's how the group kept shrinking in size as the flights would be taking these people back to their destination was, where they came from. Well, the group kept on getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and guess what happened? I'm sitting across the way from Karen Brown, the head of HR. Over on my left is Jill Thagard, the head of Treasury, and there's an empty seat over to my right, and I'm sitting there. So there's 3 of us sitting, table for 4, and we're yakking away a mile a minute. The group was contracting because you kept on hearing these voices, to go up and get your airplane, your shuttle thing to the airplane, which is, right across the runway, because we were right at the airport hotel. The Sheraton Rivergate is an airport hotel in Miami today, and they still have the Daphne Lounge. Anyway, so the 4th seat, this young lady walks over, and I look up at her and I said, I'll be damned. So I stand up and say, hey, Marilyn, how you doing? I knew who she was because she always was chit-chatting and talking with Tony Romeo and Bob Curtis, who were people that I worked with in the real estate thingy. And I never really had any opportunity because I was always busy doing something when they were chatting with her. So I knew, it was Marilyn something, brother. And sure as hell, she was in the 40, which how could I not notice? She was hiding in the back. She didn't want to be there. She was going through a divorce. I didn't want to be there because I got divorce trouble myself, confidentially. And lo and behold, that's the first time I've ever had any dialogue with Marilyn Murray. And turns out we started dating. Can you believe it? We started personally dating for a year and a half and got married. I'll be damned. All because of that training thing. Whew. Thank you, Bob Curtis. And now 44 years later of being married and, 36 years ago, we had our first kitty. Brennan Wilson. And 3 years after that, we have Daniel. So we got 2 boys of our own. And we got Lee and Robin, which Marilyn met when they were like 7 and 10 years old. Robin being 7. Lee being like 10. Yep. Because, my wife 45 years ago was fooling around with the history teacher. Oh boy, to my surprise. Holy crap. Are you serious? You're fooling around with the history teacher? Are you kidding? That was the biggest surprise of my life. I couldn't believe it. But it was true. Jeez. I was at a student conference. You go to your kid's school, and the teachers all, or the students all move around, and where the way the students used to move around. So I'm sitting in this little tiny chair, because it's like 3rd graders, and so I was sitting around, waiting for this first period to start. In Robin's, or my 7-year-old's class. And so I was sitting around there just, cooling my heels in this little tiny desk. And I didn't know anybody, so I wasn't going to, wander around and, chat with anybody. So I open up the desk. Whoops, sorry. And I take out the science book or a biology book or something. And so I'm just paging through the 3rd grade science book. and it opened up, a page, and I turned the page over, and there's this little folded up note in this science book. So I figured, let's open it. I'm looking around, you left or right. Nope, no one's going to see me reading this little note. So I opened up this little note, and it said, "Did you notice Mrs. Wilson, in an arm lock with the history teacher?" I think oh crap! Are you kidding? So I fold up the note, put it in my pocket. I mean, what? So I let a month or two go by, and I went over to Steele and I said, I opened up the note. I think I made a copy of it so that she wouldn't tear it up or something or other. And I showed her the copy, cut down to the size of the note, which is this little piece of paper folded in quarters. And I said, "So, what's this? Who is the history teacher, by the way?" So that was the beginning of the end of, that 10-year marriage. I went down the toilet real fast because that was not acceptable. Okay, I don't know how else to say it. That was not acceptable. She's good. The whole school, the whole, elementary school knew what was going on. Everybody except for Jimmy. Well, when I found out, it was not acceptable. And I said, "Okay, where are you going to go? Are you staying here? Are you going back out to Virginia? Because, this is trouble." So she took off, went back to Virginia. That was the end of that. That was about a month before, I was in this training thing and ended up bumping into Maryland for all those things. And I was just about done with a divorce. So I guess it was okay to say hello to Marilyn. Not that I was looking for a date. Although we did talk from 9 until midnight. And Karen Brown and Jill Thagard went home. And it was just Marilyn and me talking between the two of us for 3 hours. It was highly motivating. She was was quite a spectacular person. Ended up marrying her a couple years later and still with her today, 44 years later, 45 years later, whatever, a long time later. Yep. There's an article in this thing I'm paging through here. The smells your cat hates. There you go. Smells your cat hates. Oh, that's the story we have to memorialize and find out. Whoops. What could possibly be that? Oh my God. We'll save that one. See if we can find out what that story is about. Go here. Go there. See, everybody's talking about this Trump crowd. 100. Let's see how many they say was in this story. This is in Newsweek. The crowd exceeded 100,000, according to Newsweek. Oh my God. Crazy. Who knows? I didn't watch any of it, but 100,000 people. Jesus. That's a lot of people. And this guy is in court. New York City. Cohen expected to stand trial and give testimony on Monday. That should be riveting. Of course, there's no cameras in the courtroom, so that's unbelievable. Whew, 2 hours and 4 minutes. All right, I've been yakking around here for 2 hours. Time for me to stop. All right. So, happy Mother's Day. We're taking Marilyn out for dinner tonight. And That'll be fun. Dinner for 4. Reservations made. 7 o'clock. Give everybody time to get home, clean up, and meet at Lemongrass for some healthy dinner. We wish you a happy Mother's Day. And with that, we bid you adieu. We'll see you Monday morning. And we'll give you 30 seconds of uninterrupted epidemic sound. Instrumental or royalty-free music